Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in here. It's good to have you tonight. I appreciate you for stopping through. I saw you, DJ Rock and Ron. That's my brother, truck driver. I appreciate both of you all for being here. My apologies for running just a tad bit late, but all my meetings ran late today. So, it just is what it is. But I'm determined. I got determination and persistence and a constitution of perseverance. Oh, we're here tonight, and it's good to be here. As I say, if you've never gone from Genesis to Revelation and you'd like to, this is the place to be at 6:30 p.m. tonight. But typically at 6 o'clock in the evening, we are here and we are walking through the word on fire. We're going to jump right in tonight. It has been a beautiful day. I tell you what, God is so good. And as we are going through the scripture and experiencing God and seeing what the Spirit says into the church, it's just good to be here. We're going to go to Genesis, the 28th chapter. We've been dealing with my baby and his lying spirit. And now we're going to see how God begins to move in the life of our brother Isaac. Now, even when I talk about our brother and his lion spirit, y'all know we know so many people that got lion spirits. We do. I'm not trying to beat the brother down. I'm not trying to talk about him bad like a dog. I'm just saying the brother had a lion spirit. So did his mama and so did his uncle. We're going to see all of that tonight. But as I often say, um, don't put people in a snapshot. A snapshot freezes you in that position from now until. Always look from the eyes of a video where there's continuation frame to frame, where you see the transition and the changes that are taking place. So it doesn't matter where Jacob started, he was still the man of God. You all remember, even with his father Isaac, he was still the man of God, and God even used him and called him as a prophet and never changed his position, because about three of them. Truck, they're everywhere. They're here, they're there, they're everywhere. But never give up on the reality that God can still take them and use them in a mighty way. Don't get them stuck in that photograph, because God does have the power and the ability to transition frame to frame into a new being. And tell you, he really, really can. Now we're going to start in the 28th chapter. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said to him, "Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." We kind of started on this yesterday. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember in my mind. I hope we arise and go to Pandoram. I think I already read that. Let me go on down and see how far. Let me see how far. I'm going to start right here. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Pandoram and to Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah. And I know I read that last night, but I still want to start right there. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Pandaram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Uh, and that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother and was gone to Pandaram. And Esau, seeing the daughters of Canaan, pleased not Isaac his father. Then and can we say, I'm going to feel at this point that Esau's in a state of rebellion. Esau is a broken man. And we talked about this on yesterday, family dynamics. And this brother feels like he's really been kind of put in a position all the way around. And so, even the taking of the wives of Canaan, of the people, the very ones that they were like, don't take them, don't take them. That's exactly where Esau went. And I want us to understand in our family dynamics, sometimes we talk about what some people will say the black sheep of the family, or they had crushed his spirit a little bit. One reason they had crushed his spirit. And so, sometimes when we look at the child that seems like they're always obstinate, they're always in trouble, they're always this and that and the other. Sometimes if you just step back and actually take a look, just like one reason said, those individuals, their spirits have been crushed a little bit. And they don't always know how to express it. They don't always know how to deal with it. And it starts coming forth and manifesting and acting out behavior. I always encourage people, if your child starts acting out, before you start, you know, spare the rod, spoil the child, and all of this and that and the other, could you have just a little talk with them? Because maybe something serious and traumatic has happened in their lives, and they're just trying to figure out a way to deal with that situation, even as children. And I've always had a closeness to what other people call troubled children. And it seems like troubled children draw to me. And I was a troubled child myself. But I understand the mindset. I understand the dynamics. And I will try to get up under that thing and see what's really going on while everybody else is like, beat them, beat them. What I've often found to be very powerful and very effective is to pull them away from all of the noise and all of the rigmarole that's going on and listen. Listen. Uh, Maybe it even is a matter of me having to ask some questions to get under onions have layers, to get under those layers to really see what's going on with that child. And this, to me, is indicative, one reason, of some of what we see going on with Esau here, because his spirit is crushed, and rightfully so. We can judge him and say what we want to say about his reaction with the selling of the birthright, but at the end of the day, they did him in. And when your respected ones, your revered ones, as Rebecca would have been in his life, start joining in on the behavior, that's a hard pill to swallow. So I just want to kind of introduce that into our thoughts and our thinking, because we do need to stop and have compassion for people, especially when their spirits have been crushed a little bit, as one reason said. I'm going to go ahead and jump to Genesis 29:1, because that basically sets us up. We've talked about how both of them left, and I think I mentioned that on yesterday. Both Jacob and Esau leave. Now, then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And behold, and he looked, and behold, a well in that field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered. And they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep and put the stone against the well's mouth in a place. Now, listen, it must be said, Jacob and the wells. Nobody finds wells and nobody encounters wells like Jacob does. Now, this wasn't one that he dug, unlike our conversation and story on last night, but yet and still, or it might have even been the night before last. But something about him in the water. Just something about this man in the water. And I feel a kindred spirit to Jacob in that regard, because it's just something about the water, y'all. Oh my goodness, it'll do something to you. Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. Uh, and they said, We cannot until the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth and water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. So she's a shepherdess. And that's a beautiful thing. She's a shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. The man was smitten. The man was smitten. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone of my flesh. Let me read this correctly. Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him a space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Listen, love at first sight, truck driver. Everybody wants to talk, well, he was just happy he had found his family. Listen, it was a little deeper than that, if I might say myself, in my opinion. Because listen, this man done kissed her, and I'm not talking about anything more than with respect and within what is appropriate. But at the end of the day, listen, the breaking down and the weeping and all of that, I'm going to go with you, truck driver. I think this was some love at first sight. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? Now, this is where he's about to get a taste of his own medicine, because now Laban's going to play him for the fool. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Now, we already know he's smitten with Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. Okay, go ahead and stay with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days. That man was in love. You talking about 7 years seemed like just a few days. He was in love for the love he had for her. And Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I might go in into her. Now, he been waiting on this, honey. That's what made that time fly. That's what, listen, he looked at Rachel and said, You make my liver quiver. You listen, you are the apple of my eye. Oh my God, these 7 years flew by, because listen, I am in anticipation is making me wait. And I feel like, listen, this is flying by because I know what awaits me at the end. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Remember when you pulled your little stunt, sir. Remember when you pulled your little stunt. And as I said the other day, you reap what you sow. And you sow the wind, but the Bible said you're going to weep the whirlwind. So you got somebody that came along just a little stronger than you, just a little more conniving than you. And at the end of the day, after you have found this woman and fallen in love with her, this man tricks you. And he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And I love the fact that he said beguiled. And Laban said, It must not be done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Now, listen, folks that want to skate right on the edge and still be lying. Because at the end of the day, this man deceived. This was deception. This was just nothing but flat out straight deception. And you're going to have those encounters with people, and even check your own self, because sometimes if we're not careful, we skate right on that fine line of deception. But deception, I'm telling you, it is and can be very destructive to the people that you are deceiving. And then stop and think about, do you want to be deceived in the way that you are deceiving somebody else? If it doesn't feel good to you, if it would not be something that you would be comfortable with, please check your spirit. Please check your actions and your attitudes and your behavior, because it's not a matter of will I get caught, but it's really a matter of, at the end of the day, if that shoe was on my foot and I was the one that was being deceived, even though it's right there on the verge of being truthful. And we've seen this time and time again. Abraham, she's my sister. Then Rebecca, she's my. So we've seen this time and time again where we're skating on the fine line of truth and deception. And a truth is twisted in the way to make it deceptive. So be careful how you walk, be careful how you talk, because my personal opinion, you may choose another position and another opinion, but my personal opinion, when you skating on that fine line, you're lying. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, a wife also. So listen, and Laban gave Rachel, his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to her to be her maid. And he went in also under Rachel and loved also Rachel more than Leah. Now we got a problem, because he's actually got a preference for one daughter over the other. But he said from Jump Street he was in love and smitten with Rachel. So I mean, now we've got a dynamic that has been created by the choices of Laban to deceive poor brother Jacob. And now, I'm just going to say, I can't imagine being the wife that was not the favored one. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated and she was not the favored one, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Oh, Lord, today. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. This is the firstborn, the first of the 12 tribes of Israel. For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction, and now therefore my husband will love me. Now listen, folks. I think one reason mentioned the other night, a situation of entrapment. And somebody had done something. Now, whether or not it was to try to get that person to love them, or whether or not it was just merely, I want a child and I'm going to entrap you, whatever the case may be, entrapment is never a good situation. So listen, this whole idea and concept that now I got a child by you, you're going to love me. No, ma'am. No, sir. And we see there's nothing new under the sun, because people are still trying these same levels. That's why, wait a minute, whoever that is you are not the father. You got all of that going on, because there are a lot of people out there that are trying to do entrapment. Or what's the other one where they go to court and the DNA results are in and da-da-da-da-da-da. Because entrapment still exists. So here we have this whole, a baby ain't gonna make a man love a woman, one reason, that part. And any kind of entrapment, whatever you're using for bait. And to me, even in saying that, the most unfortunate scenario is to try to use a baby in their innocence to bait somebody else. I think that's one of the most hurtful things you can do, and to whoever is being baited, but especially to the child. Seen it with your own two eyes, one reason, and it's out there. And listen, it's not just in the days of old, it's still going on in 2025. Please believe that. So here she conceives again and bear a son, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated. She's so fixated on being hated. Now, I gotta say, no woman wants to be the second in line. So straight up, I'm just saying, You can tell, and I'm sure she was very, very keen to the fact that she was not the one that he wanted. And I'm sure it manifested, even if it was in subconscious, covert ways. I'm sure it manifested because it's just something about when you really, 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 really love someone, it just manifests differently. So she's trying to work against all of that. Now, again, let's go back to the fact Laban created this mess. And she conceived again and bare a son because the Lord hath heard that I was hated. She's fixated on that, y'all. He had therefore given me this son, and she called his name Simeon. So, honey, mother is just fruitful and multiplying, is she not? She's just going forth. And she conceived again and bare a son and said, now this time will my husband be joined unto me, or the two. Come on here. And she's doing everything she can. And she's thinking that these children are going to bring some kind of connection between herself and listen, you're not who I wanted to begin with. I got some kind of attitude. Now, secondly, let's also take into consideration that at this point, the woman that he really loves and wants to have children with is barren. Who he really wants to have children with and by is barren. And then he's got this other one over here he didn't want to begin with, and she's just popping them out like gremlins. Water hits them and they just keep popping out, multiplying. So she has this other one thinking all the time, she keeps talking about how this is going to join him to her. This is how he's going to start to love her. I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore, she called his name Levi. But listen, at the end of the day, Levi is still not going to make this brother love you because he's in love with Rachel. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah and left bearing. So the Lord has a wild sense of humor, doesn't he? One reason. I mean, this is just almost like, you gotta be kidding me. But that's exactly what happened. So at the end of the day, if nothing else is learned from this, I think we should learn, even in this day and time, entrapment does not work. I don't care how many little papooses you pop out. Entrapment does not work. Please believe it. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children or else I die. Well, listen, poor Jacob. This brother, he's in a pickle. And I'm looking and I'm like, Laban, sir, you created this. You created this whole mess. And now you got these sisters out here vying for this man and trying their best to pop out some children. But ain't Judah the chosen one? Come on, out of the tribe of Judah. Come on, come on, come on. And she conceived again and bare a son and said, now I will, oh, wait a minute. I think I already did that one. Let me put this up. And when Rachel saw, my apologies, when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob, give me children or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, am I in God's stead? Who hath we withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Do you think I'm God? Because listen, if it was in my power, you'd be pregnant and producing and not Leah. So even as one reason said, it's almost like a twisted sense of humor that's going on here, that the one that Jacob really loves cannot have children. She's like telling him that line always gets me. Give me children or else I die. Ma'am, if I could, I would. I'm trying. How about that? I'm trying. Now, even as I say that, I do want to acknowledge this. There are women that are and have been trying to have children. And this is a place, I told you I'm a womanist theologian. This is a place that we often don't talk about. For the barren and for the ones who want to be with child and cannot, there is a grieving that goes along with that many times people don't understand. Now, even as I'm joking and laughing at her comments to Jacob, give me children or else I'm going to die, I do want to stop and acknowledge there is a pain that many times has not been acknowledged adequately about women that cannot bear children. Many I can think of how many times people will really, and I know a few women that it took them a long, long, long time to get pregnant. I do know some people that have used surrogacy, and the pain that's involved in the not being able to bear children. I know some that really count how many times they've taken that pregnancy test and it's come back negative. And every time it comes back negative, it's like another stab in the heart. Every time it comes back negative, it's like another failed hope that seems like it will never happen. So even in my talking about this, I do want to take a step back because this is something that's real. It's something that, we need to acknowledge, and it does need to be addressed. And so I want to lay off my laughing, if you will, in this instance, to really honor and respect that there are women out there and men as well that want children and they cannot bring forth. And it is a grieving process. It is a grieving process. And whether we have understood to acknowledge it as such or not, I do want to tell you from personal knowledge and experience with close loved ones that I know and friends, it is a grief that is very, very real. So I do want to stop in this moment and just acknowledge that experience of life and what Rachel was going through here. All right. So she said, "Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her." Now, listen, you got to really be in a state to say to your husband, "Go into another woman and rear up some children. And she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her." Ooh, is this some Handmaid's Tale or not? Now, come on, y'all. Put a one in the chat if you've seen Handmaid's Tale, because the bearing on the knees and raising up children by her. Oh my God, if that's not some Handmaid's Tale. But nonetheless, I understand where she's coming from. "And she gave him Bilhah, her husband, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her." Oh, Lord, today. "And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah." Now, come on, y'all. But we're going to get to 12. Are we not? We're going to get there. But we got a competition to see who can pop them out. "When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah her maid and gave her Jacob to wife." And now poor Jacob, bless his heart. He's just popping from place to place. "And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And she said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them into his mother Leah." One way or another, one reason, we're going to get there. Oh my Lord, today. "He brought them into his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband?" Now we got attitudes in the house, y'all. "And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also?" And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out unto meet him, and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee. Oh, Lord Jesus. Surely I have hired with my son's mandrakes, and he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me. And it still ain't gonna work. It just won't work. Honey, Israel tried to tell you, it just won't work. Because I have borne him six sons, and she called him Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter and called her name Dinah. Now I find it very, listen, they just pimping him out one reason, just pimping him out like a piece of meat. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? And at this point, it's almost like, how can Jacob have real love for either one of them? Because you're sending me from hither to thither to yon. You're sending me to this handmaid, to that handmaid, then back to me, and then back out to another one. Just pimped him out like a piece of meat. Do you understand? Like a $2 you know what. Afterwards, I find it interesting that they named Dinah, but I'm glad that they did. But we're gonna learn a little bit more about that. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her. No, wait. You know what? Before I go another further, and I was talking about pimping him out one reason, but this attitude and energy I want to address to my sisters, because men are more than a piece of meat to produce children and to bring some money. And we have, and for many that move in the realm of entrapment, the whole idea, find you somebody got a good job. Listen, when I tell you the number of young people that I've heard, young ladies, that before they consider anything else, they're scoping out that bank account and what kind of job that the young man has. No, ma'am, no, sir. That whole pimping energy needs to go by the wayside. Please hear me. And while we do oftentimes talk about the wrongs done against our sisters and our sisterhood, which is true, I would be remiss if I did not address the energies and the negativities that we bring to our brothers and our kings, because that's real talk. And they're not a bank account. They're not your means to an end to have a comfortable and relaxed lifestyle while you lounge around and do nothing. I've seen brothers that have had to go to work hard, come home, and then clean the house, take care of the kids, cook the food, do the whole 9 years after working, while sisters are literally doing nothing. I have seen it. So at the end of the day, come on here, Crystal Method. You know how I do it. I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And womanist theology, it takes into account everybody, not just female, but it also deals with feminine energy that would misuse and abuse male energy. So I got to call it out, because that energy is still alive. I've heard mothers put this kind of energy and talk in their daughters' heads. And I'm looking at the mama like, and what's wrong with you? Who would instruct and tell and talk to your daughters in this kind of way, that you look at this brother as nothing more than a means to an end? And I've even seen it right down to maybe he doesn't have a job, maybe this, that, and the other, but he'll make a pretty baby. We can make pretty babies together. I'm telling you, I've seen and heard some stuff. Do you hear me? That is almost like I can't even believe you formed your lips for that to come out of your mouth. So I have to talk to the sisters on that side, because pimping them out is more than just like we see here with Jacob, back and forth, but it's a whole lot of ways that we pimp brothers out, and we need to pay attention to that. And I'm going to say this once more, and again, I touched on it yesterday, and it relates in a lot of different areas, but I'm going to speak to it as it relates to our brothers and our kings. Don't put the brethren through hell because you went through hell with some other brother. Don't, hey, get healed. Get healed. I'm telling you one reason. I'm telling what God loves, and that's the truth. Get healed. Because some of these brothers are good, excellent, fine, upstanding brother. But by the time you trash them and take them through all of the things, I mean, the insanities, the mood swings, the changes, the attitudes, the looking through. Listen, if you don't trust somebody, you don't need to be with them. If you got to go through their text messages, and you got to go through their clothes when they take them off, and you got to go through this, that, and the other, baby, if he's that untrustworthy, or you think he's that untrustworthy, why are you still there? But some of these brethren are not doing the thing. And can I say this? Sometimes people are acting in behaviors because they know they're guilty of what they're making you be suspect of. So you doing all this, oh, you cheating, oh, you this and then you that and you the other. It's because you're cheating. It's because you got text messages that are inappropriate. It's because you're making phone calls and having hookups. And listen, can I say, I'm telling you one reason in Truck Driver, I'm telling what God loves, and it's the truth. And you all, and I've seen this and I will never understand it, that are two-timing on your husbands or your significant others, and you take your children with you to be unfaithful to your husband, and you got this child sitting here watching you and your lover, and I'm not even talking about in a love-making situation, but I'm talking about just the whole scenario that y'all out here meeting just indiscreetly and got your child mixed up in that. Stop it. No, ma'am, no, sir. And at the end of the day, it's still pimping folks out. Smelling they draws, one reason. Smelling they draws, trying to see, do I smell something? So at the end of the day, come on, Truck Driver, I'm talking real talk. When we see this energy, it's nothing new under the sun. And what these two sisters, Leah and Rachel, were manifesting was nothing less than some of this foolishness that we see going on in these days and times. Because if you got to do all of that to a good brother, something's wrong with you. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. And I'm not bashing women, but I am talking truths of what I have seen with my own eyes in my lifetime. And at the end of the day, I don't care. Abuse is abuse. And that's what I said about Lot's wife, Lot's daughters, and the three men. Abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter. Listen, calling the side piece uncle and so. Come on here, one reason. And every time you turn around, and I'm talking some real talk, and I'm talking some real stuff that I've seen with my eyes. And at the end of the day, that child is conflicted. But let me tell you what I've seen happen time and time again. That child who can't say anything when they're a child, those children often grow up to hate that parent. Please hear me when I say it. It's a love-hate relationship. I love you because you're my parent, but at the same time, I hate you and I cannot respect you. And this is where we get into some tense areas when you say, you gonna respect me, I'm your mama. You gonna respect me, I'm your daddy. But have you done something? Have you acted in a way that has caused your child, and repeatedly done it, to cause your child to disrespect you? You can't ask your child to respect you when you have put them in situations and put them in positions and places where they can openly disrespect you. And because first and foremost, you out here with your side piece, you're disrespecting them. I said what I said. I'm going to say it again. You out here with your side piece and got your child in or children in tow. You're disrespecting them, and you're disrespecting them as it relates to their other parent. Don't think you can just turn back around and say, respect me, I'm your mama. Respect me, I'm your daddy. Because listen, even though they may, as a child, not fully understand it, as they get older, they're going to see exactly what's going on. And that's where the attitudes begin because you misused them in the beginning. Am I talking in here? Listen, I'm doing some real talk tonight because the same way that Rachel and Leah pimped him out, we still see that same thing going on today. And there's some really good brothers that have been very wounded by females and feminine energy that has the mindset of Rachel and Leah. Totally inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. And I'm just calling a spade a spade. Because I seek for fairness for all, truth for all, honesty for all, genuine relationship for all, including the children. Including the children. Respect your children. Come on, Crystal Method. Respect your children. Do not put them in a situation where, can you imagine? I'm trying to respect mama and mama's out here with her side piece and you done got me in the middle of it and towing me along. No, ma'am, no, sir. Here, sit in the car while I go. No, ma'am, no, sir. No. And he ain't my uncle. She's not my auntie. Am I talking to anybody? I just had to stop there for a second because this energy that these sisters are manifesting is all the way wrong. And it's still in the land today. And unfortunately, you have some silly mothers that are actually teaching this behavior to their daughters, and it shall not stand. It shall not stand. And she conceived and bare a son and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away that I may go into my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served thee, and let me go. For thou knowest my service, which I have done unto thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. Yeah, you're being blessed because I'm here. Now, I'm going to stop right there because once more and again, we got some more trickery to go on. All right. Now, I know I probably said some little heavy conversation tonight for some, but I'm talking real talk. And I'm talking in 2025. I'm not trying to. We see this story centuries ago with the patriarchs, but that energy is still alive in 2025. And I'm going to talk about it and talk and address it from the perspective of 2025, because that's real talk and that's real stuff that's going on. I love my brothers that are out here, these kings, some of it. And come on, y'all. Let's stop even with the energy that all men are dogs. No, they're not. No, they're not. Just like all females are not bees and hoes. So come on, I'm saying it. It needs to be said. And this whole energy that we have, one pitted against the other. Why? Because we're only destroying and tearing down ourselves, beloved. We're just destroying ourselves. And then unfortunately, the generations that come behind us, because they sense that energy. They sense, and even from the small, I'm gonna say, I tell you what, babies can sense bad energies. And I mean when I'm talking about baby, goo goo gaga babies can sense bad energy. And the older they get, the more keen and the more wise they become to it. Don't think your child doesn't know what's going on. Yes, they do. You can feel that energy, and you can feel that that energy is not right. So come on, Crystal Method. And I want us to stop hurting ourselves, stop hurting one another, and stop hurting our children. Because at the end of the day, they're producing children in the midst of all of this. And we're going to get to a point where when we see, I'm not going to jump ahead, but we know the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors and being cast out by his brethren. This jealousy, this competition, this always at each other's throat. It came down to the kids from mama and daddy. So mamas, And that, so understand epigenetics. Once I get to a place where I can really get into epigenetics, I really, really will. But we're passing this trauma on to our children and to our children's children. And then we're trying to fix it after they get to be a certain age. Baby, that's mess. That's mess. So please just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Let's cease from doing that kind of madness. Nobody, either gender, deserves being pimped out. All right? If anybody else has anything that you want to say, I'm going to stop right there because we've got more trickery that's going to go on. But I just wanted to stop and speak that when I saw One Reason and his comment about how they were pimping him out. There are a lot of good men that have been pimped out one way or the other. And that's the truth. That is the truth. And it needs to be acknowledged as well. All right. I try to acknowledge all the different areas. Just like I said, for them to be barren and not be able to have children for Rachel, that was painful. For Jacob not to have children with the wife that he loved, that's painful. Understand that. There's grief involved there. But the same way we acknowledge that, I have to acknowledge pimping the brothers out. Stop with that. They mean so much more than a dollar, a bank account, a job, a car, a house, some money. That's not that. Or some babies. Even if they're pretty babies. No. Stop the madness. All right. I'm going to come up and say hi to everybody, and I'm going to see if anyone else has anything that they want to say to me tonight. Go ahead and put it in the chat. DJ Rock and Ron was in here, but he had Bible study that starts in about 20 minutes. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in. It's always a blessing to see you. My brother Mufasa, truck drivers in the house. So much mad love to you, and thank you for your input and your conversation in the chat. One Reason, the Bishop of Twitch, that's my brother, and he always comes in talking good stuff. I appreciate you. And truck driver too. Thank you all. Y'all were just talking to me. I appreciate you. I'm going to go back and say a baby ain't going to make a man love a woman. And I'm going to highlight that comment once more and again. One reason, because it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God all day long. Coming on down in Crystal Method, my sister, I see you. Hello there. It's good to see you. And thank you for your input, because I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your comments in the chat. I think that's all. I'm trying to come down. I think that's all I see in the chat on tonight. I appreciate you. I hope that this has been beneficial to you in one way or another. And for those that will, Crazy Berrytown. Oh my goodness, how did I miss you, sis? How did I miss you? Crazy Berrytown, I love me some you. This sister right here, she's powerful. She is a streamer on Twitch, as is One Reason as well. Please go out and follow these brothers and sisters on Twitch. Now, mind you, I'm not exclusively on Twitch, but I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to see you. I love you. And thank you for dropping in tonight. I hope that something that I said has been something of a blessing to you. Because this is some real talk. To me, just going through the Bible and talking about yea, I say, and this and that and the other without really addressing real issues, to me, is a waste of time. There's got to be something that needs to be addressed in that. I want to give honor to all the good men out there. I want to give honor to all the brothers that have been pimped. I want to give honor to all the sisters that have experienced barrenness and the grief of not being able to conceive, and the joy for those that do finally have that breakthrough moment of being able to be with child and have a child. But we also want to honor the grief in the barrenness. So we tried to cover all of those different aspects and elements in fairness to everybody on tonight as we read this story. And at the end of the day, I hope you gained something out of what I've said. Now, again, for those that are have not read from Genesis to Revelations and you want to do that, we do that right here. We started a little late tonight at 6:30 because I had meetings that all ran over. All of my meetings ran over tonight, but we're here, and I want to appreciate those of you that came in. I've done my time, and I think we've shared in this story as far as we're going to take it for tonight. Go ahead, and we're going to start. Let's see. We're gonna start tomorrow with man. They finally popped all those kids out, didn't they? One reason, and like you said, God has a tremendous sense of humor. Um, and we'll talk a little bit about Dinah later on too, because it's interesting that all of those sons, Dinah gets named, and she's the only daughter, but she is named, and I think that's a powerful, powerful thing. But there is a trauma and a drama that happens with Dinah later on, and we'll get into that. All right, I think we've covered everything, and so once more and again, for those that want to go out, you can go out and look. We're going to be on January 24th, January 25th, January 26th. And we said we were going to start with Joseph, but we'll probably get to him on Friday. On Friday, we'll get to Joseph. We'll finish up with Jacob and everything that's going on with him and his family, and how, again, I said I did want to get to the reconciliation of Jacob and Esau. Families being healed, families being brought back together. As I said, though, if there is a time that you need to separate yourself because you need to be healed, do what you need to do. And if other people are unwilling to change, one thing I've learned in life, you cannot change people. Don't try to. But what you do have control over is the ability to transform yourself. And if your transformation requires you having a break and a separation, however the Lord leads you to do, so that you can be healthy and you can be whole, because some of us, just like we saw basically with Jacob, following his mama's every whim and everything that she told him to do, that gets him in hot water and hot water and hot water, and then to Laban, hot water. You know, sometimes you have to stop and step back and say, what are my family's intentions towards me? And even though that seems like something that may be hard to deal with, if it is an issue, and it's not with everybody, if it is an issue, then you do need to stop and address that. Everybody's upbringing, everybody's family situation, everybody's scenario is not the same. Don't assume that it is. And learn not to judge people by your personal life experience, because some people have been through some things a little differently than your life experience. Just be kind, be gentle, be caring and kind and gentle to yourself first and foremost. And above all things, make sure that you heal. All right, we'll be back on tomorrow. I think I've got everybody. If I missed anybody that was in my chat, please know that it was only because I didn't see you there. I tried to go back and look, but if I missed you by chance, feel free to put your name in the chat now. But I appreciate everybody that's here, and I hope this has been a blessing to you. I love you. I absolutely positively do. And as I always like to close out, peace for your journey.